Hello, my name is Lauren Harrington. I'm an industry sales director with Rockwell Automation, our hybrid manufacturing segment. And joining me today are three technology partners, part of our Rockwell Automation Partner Network, to talk about the opportunities, the challenges, and the trends facing consumer packaged goods manufacturers with regard to building resiliency.
My name's Winston Jenks. I'm the technical director at Cape Software, and we provide software that connects to your controller as a simulator so that you can test your automation before you go online.
My name is Mike Berg. I'm a business development manager with Panduit. Panduit provides infrastructure for a connected world. So we provide both network infrastructure as well as power infrastructure. We worked with Rockwell for maybe 25 years. Part of what we do is the network infrastructure that supports digital transformation.
I'm Gregory Brasic from Autonox Robotics. We're a manufacturer of mechanical arm sets. So the mechanical arm sets can be used with Rockwell controls, RA kinematics to make a complete robot system. And we're making Delta-style robots, Scara-style robots, and articulated arm-style robots.
Well, I thought we'd start with the challenges that the CPG manufacturers might be facing today with regard to connectivity.
We tend to think of things of just the traditional control system and connecting things, which definitely the network is connecting more of those devices. But really, on these plant floors, it is IT and OT. So there's things like wireless going on all these plant floors, supporting mobile robotics, other robotics, things that we don't traditionally think of, as well as the people walking around with their handheld devices, trying to monitor what's going on with each situation. But part of what we can do is we can tie into the CPWE architecture, which really addresses the IT and OT elements of what's needed for that network architecture and the physical architecture as well. A lot of people don't know that about CPWE, that it does such a good job addressing IT as well.
So Winston, I'm sure you're probably seeing a lot more needs to be done in order to really map out the connectivity across the plant.
In our history of doing this, we've found exactly one customer that did not make any changes to the logic after they went through testing with our software. Every automation system has bugs or issues, right? So given that, what we really need to do is understand what those are and can we live with them. You obviously can't test your system forever, even regardless of how complicated it is, because eventually you do have to make product and get some money flowing.
How does that lead to with robotics when introducing robotics into a plant and regarding the network and connectivity, pulling that all together?
So we're compatible with anybody's controls. In the case of the Rockwell controller, for example, it's lavish in its ability to connect to many different types of technologies. So for us, if it'll work with the control, then it'll work with our robot.
Within the CPG plants, what is the most important data and insights to gain to ensure control and safety within the system?
We now have the capability to run multiple simulations in parallel using the power of the cloud. So that you're not just limited to sort of a single instance of your digital plant or your practice plant while we're doing tests. For example, with Microsoft Azure, we've been able to spin up tens, hundreds of plants at a time to actually do safety system tests and verify that they're working like they're supposed to.
Mike, in the manufacturing 4.0 era, how do you, as the expert in the physical infrastructure, support and portray importance of that physical security within that network?
So physical security as part of cybersecurity is absolutely paramount. It can be a cause of downtime. It can also, lead to theft of IP. And everyone's worried about it, right? With connecting all these systems, this CPWE architecture that I talk about obviously has a lot of that cybersecurity built into it, all of it actually, from the software side. And then Panduit's aspect of it is following the standards that are out there, building that physical infrastructure so that it is safe and that it is also secure.
Thanks, Mike. And that ties into some robotics as well, Gregory, does it not? Safety and security seems to come up quite a bit.
There's a lot of safety concerns around robotics. Some type of cobot architecture is going to be necessary to ensure that. So yeah, you'd have to have a good network. You have to have physical security in the same sense. You can't allow people into cells that are running, so you'd have many of the same concerns.
So building on that, actually, Gregory, if you don't mind, how can robotics and specific to the kinematics deliver reliability in a CPG plant?
Robotics are extremely useful to ensure repeatability and reliability. One of the things that robotics can do a big favor to manufacturers is reducing the density of human workers on the floor. So in industries that are doing any kind of hand handling of parts, where you've got a lot of people standing next to conveyors or over work tables, there's a lot of risks there health-wise, and also you've got the problem of sourcing people. And as our unemployment rate has fallen lower and lower, the quality of people that are left over that people are able to hire is also declined. So more training is required, more supervision is required. Automation is a great answer where it can be used, because once we have it working correctly after we've gone through testing, generally speaking, it will continue to work reliably for us over time. And it allows us then to have a lower density of human workers on the floor.
At the same time, for some of those jobs that you don't want a person to do, right?
There are a lot of jobs that if you stand and watch people doing them for a long period of time, you wouldn't want to do that job because of the wear and tear on your body. So robotics are very helpful in situations like that.
Mike, can you speak to the importance of considering a certified industrial network when planning a new CPG plant, build or renovating an older brownfield?
A lot of folks don't know that the certification of that network is possible. So then the network becomes almost like a utility for you on the plant floor. It's more flexible, more reliable, resilient for the longer term as well. So what that allows us to do, we can build out the network modularly. So we have a core of the network, and then we can build out production cells kind of one at a time for the brownfield aspect, right? To kind of leverage this network over time. But we're building to a plan. It's ICT, information communications technology, that we're putting in. And then we can also warranty that, provide that certification through recognized ecosystem partners. So there are partners that know these plants really well, that can put these systems in. So it's a common vision for the people that are putting it in, and then you can certify it and warranty that network infrastructure. So for a brownfield, kind of evaluating that network, is that adequate to support that space? And so you would have all the inputs then for a good design from that type of service. We would do the physical architecture design work. We could do the physical assessment work. And we would work in conjunction with Rockwell Automation on the logical to physical translation.
And Winston, what does that mean to you as far as when a company is scaling and the testing that might be required?
So after a lot of people have asked us after we've completed the test of the control system is, what do I do about the people? And I think it's a lot easier to understand what to do if you just think of the people that are running your facility as part of the control system. Now, obviously, people are different. You don't just take one out of the box, slide it into the rack, power it on, and download it, right? So, however, where the controller can provide you with the reliability and the repeatability, the people are really there to provide a broader range of reliability, to handle things that maybe the engineers didn't think about, in the first place, to be able to handle those types of situations. It's why we still have two pilots in the front of the airplane. I'm sure the airplane could land itself, but having two pilots in the front allows us to deal with situations that are unexpected in a much better way.
What opportunities do you think customers have for more secure operations in the next 5 to 10 years in building that resiliency, but also with their people as well?
Yeah, so along the lines of, as sort of people as part of the control system, I think that obviously making sure that they perform well in their job is of course very important. And what we found is that training managers that have asked us to help with getting their people trained, a lot of times management is looking at how do I improve the top 10% of my workforce to be really the super best operator. And what we found is that you really get much better results if you focus on not so much the ones that can save the day, but the ones that might, perhaps cause an incident or prevent that from happening in the first place. A great example is my wife coached a little league team one year, and instead of focusing on making the top players better, she really focused on making sure that the bottom of the order never struck out, right? And that turned out to be a very winning strategy for that year. So that same sort of thing is what we like to apply with any really workforce. That includes people.
So I would say as folks start to add more technology into these spaces, you start to look at like areas where you can leverage that technology more. Part of where that's going to happen is the robotics and the control elements kind of mirroring what the workers are seeing as well, and leveraging things like the work instructions where we can make things visible to the worker and also kind of in harmony with how the robotics is working as well. So part of the benefit of that is that it's a better training program. People can come up to speed faster and be more at the level of a more senior employee in a faster time frame. And it's also in a safer environment as well, because the technology is helping things be safer as well.
Gregory, how does that resonate with you?
We've got a huge amount of activity going on out there now, teaching young people about robotics and about automation. When I started in the industry in the early 1980s, I mean, there was nothing like that out there. Most of the programmers that I knew were people that started out as electricians because they understood how ladder logic worked, and then they became programmers. That's very different now. And I think that there's been a huge improvement in the development and deployment of integrated safety, both in robotics and in automation. Take a look at the capabilities of like a GuardLogix processor and the ability to have this distributed networked safety system that's out there for the entire area that you're in. We also see a lot of benefits of not just the training, but easier programming systems so that people get up to speed faster, and there are more people available to do these kinds of jobs. Because let's face it, as we move into the future and we talk about having more and more robots out there, more and more automation, we got to have more programmers too.
Well, thank you for sharing your thought leadership and your expertise and insights today. And thank you for joining us.